Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. I just wanted to do a fun comparative look at three of Seiko's more affordable Japanese domestic market dress watches. They're all very similar in design. They all offer great value for money, excellent execution. I've owned all three in the past and I am a big fan of each one of them. They all share the same 6R15C movement. It's an in-house Seiko movement with a 50-hour power reserve. Now here on the right, this is the SARB 33. This is the most traditionally sized of the three, and in my opinion, definitely offers the most value for money. I mean, for about $350, you get an incredible amount of watch. You know, you've got that gorgeous, timeless case shape, expertly finished. You have, just the timeless look of the dial, sapphire crystal, solid links, solid end links, just overall a really compelling package that I don't think you can beat for, around $350, at least when it comes to a dress watch. So that's probably the most popular watch. I know a lot of you guys own the SARB. You're looking into one of these two because you love the SARB and you recognize, yeah, it does have some flaws, some faults. I want to upgrade. So let's talk about these two, okay? These two watches, they are basically twice as much as the SARB. You can get the SDGM for about $700 and about $770 for the SARX. Looking at the brights, we have definitely the most dynamic dial of the three. It is just simply gorgeous. I don't know how else to describe it. You have that very dynamic cocktail sunburst pattern on the dial, just that gorgeous champagne or ivory color that kind of has that sheen that changes in the light. It is so beautiful. You look at that second hand, it's blued, it's just a nice little touch. Really long, thin indices, and overall just simply beautiful. There's no other way to put it. There's a magic about this watch. This is probably going to be everyone's favorite, I think. I know a lot of you love the brights. I love the black brights that I had. Really, really good watch. And then the newest one, the SARX. This is, I just reviewed this on the channel. It was just released this month. Again, I don't want to use the same words over and over, but it is gorgeous. You have those blued hands, those nicely finished indices. Everything is just so elegant, timeless, and understated. And the quality, the feel is definitely here. So they all offer something different. They all have their drawbacks. Let me take you through my thought process here. Okay, so I know it's going to be fairly long. Just stick with me. Okay, the SARB. Love the SARB. A couple of drawbacks. I don't like the lume. I guess I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to dress watches. I don't want lume on my dress watches. And it's in such small quantities here on this that really it's not very functional. Even though, Seiko makes the best lume in the business. The bracelet's another kind of drawback for me. You have an oyster style that's, brushed finish, polished side. It's not a bad bracelet, don't get me wrong, but it really just doesn't quite match the feel of the case. The case is beautiful. If you look at the brushing here on the lug, it's got some depth and dimension to it. And you look at the brushing here on the bracelet, it's kind of almost blurred. It doesn't quite have that definition and almost doesn't feel like it's made out of the same quality steel to me. So that's kind of a drawback. Another thing, you can see me here behind my phone filming this video. Definitely need some anti-reflective coating on that sapphire crystal. So although this is definitely the best value on the table, you get so much watch for your money, it does have a few drawbacks. And so Seiko, I think very wisely, they wanted to make a SARB-like watch at the next level that kind of addressed those things. If we look here at the brights, you have this absolutely beautiful bracelet with impeccable finishing. The brushing, the polishing is every bit as dimensional and defined as on the case. It really feels like a complete package. It has a nice, drape on the wrist. The clasp is a little bit nicer here. We have, absolutely smooth finish clasp. We get 2 half links in the bracelet. If we compare it to the SARB, again, you don't get mad if you have a SARB and it feels like I'm beating you up. I'm not trying to, But you can see there's just an unsightly gap here. You don't get half links. It's just not as refined as what you get on the brights. So anyway, Seiko, they made a better bracelet. It's more comfortable. It's definitely a step up in quality. And you can see they absolutely put reflective coating here on the crystal. You don't get really any reflection. So you can, see out my window. You can see me here in the SARB. Can't do that here on the SARX or on the SARB. Sorry, the SDGM. I'm getting confused. Too many watches, right? And then also they took off that lume, so you have kind of the purest, feel to the dress watch. You have those beautifully long, thin indices, the sword hands. They're a little bit more dimensional. You can see how they're beveled and they're catching the light. Again, if you look at the SARB here, yeah, they're beveled. They're not quite as brilliant. And that lume really ruins it, at least for me. You may feel differently, and that is totally cool. That's totally cool. So anyways, yeah, it's a bit of a complete package. I think definitely a step up from the SARB, and it definitely comes with a step up in price. This is about $700, which is twice as much as the SARB. Is it twice the watch? Well, argument can be made for both. I feel, yes, it is worth the extra money. I'd definitely rather have this than a SARB and something else, or two SARBs. It really is just awesome. But also people had some drawbacks to the brights. Okay, they had some things they didn't quite love. Namely, that automatic font. If you see down at the 6 o'clock position, it's rather large, it's rather bold, it's modern. And yes, this is a large, bold modern dress watch, but people really like that cutesy cursive writing here that's on the SARB. And some people, that was just a big turnoff. I got a lot of comments about that on my review. People didn't like that font. Another thing is the onyx here in the crown. I think it looks great with the black dial version. The cream dial, a little out of place to me. Again, you might not care, but just a little, little detail. So anyways, it's the same case back, same movement. Beautiful bracelet, but yeah, a couple criticisms. People didn't really like the onyx or the font, and it is a little large, 40.5 millimeters. It feels its size. It doesn't wear small. So enter the SARX. Okay, I think Seiko, they took what people loved about the SARB, they took the things that were upgraded on the brights, and then they made some adjustments and they made the SARX. And to me, it's kind of like a hybrid between the two watches. You have, more of that traditional size. You don't have quite as long and thin indices here for the markers. They look a little bit more like the SARB, but still, more dynamic and more quality to the finish. You can see the automatic cursive font has made a reappearance. So, they took things about the SARB that was loved, and they nixed a few of the more controversial things of the brights, and boom, here we have the SARX. Now, what's interesting is the SARX is actually the widest of all three. It's 41.25 millimeters, and that's a modern dress watch size. That's like the Rolex Datejust. That's like the Tudor style and a bunch of other modern dress watches. It's kind of big, but interesting thing, it actually wears smaller than the Grand Cocktail, and that's due to the shorter lug to lug length. We have a 46.2 millimeter lug to lug, so it's quite a bit thinner than that 48.6 millimeters that's on the brights. And those lugs, they kind of sweep in. They're a little bit thinner. They really kind of hug toward the bracelet. And overall, I really like the way this wears. I feel it's more comfortable on wrist. If just, my preference. It feels, kind of like a SARB, except a little bit bigger. And you can see that they nixed that onyx that's in the crystal and returned to that beautiful Seiko logo, kind of the snake logo that was originally found on the SARB. So, I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts. I know you guys want to see these two side by sides, so here we go. Just check that out. Simply stunning, stunning. Differences, you can see that the bezel here on the brights, well, it's quite a bit, I guess you could say flatter or bigger, you know, you notice it, and it's highly polished. Not quite as, you know, I guess the bezel here is more angular, it's more vertical than what you find here on the brights. Again, the lugs don't seem to sweep quite as far down. See, they kind of come out and hug to that bracelet, whereas on the brights, they just kind of arc down, and it's beautiful, right? That's really cool. That's really cool. But yeah, it's a difference, okay? And if we do look at the bracelet, you can see, yes, it's the same design. It's absolutely executed the same, but the center link here on the brights is quite a bit thicker than what's on the SARX. So just an interesting thing to note. But they do have the same clasp, and that clasp is just beautiful. There's no unsightly gap like there is on the SARB. And the logo is, you know, you can see how that's stamped. And you can see how this is nicely etched. So anyways, let's put these back side by side. Those are kind of some of the differences. You got a longer lug-to-lug length. You got more presence here. You got more, you know, understated elegance here on the SARX. Maybe, you know, not quite as beautiful, but still beautiful nonetheless. Let's bring all three. Oops. There we go. So there you have it. There you have the three. All right, what do I think? Which one should you buy? Okay, well, that's subjective, right? I'm not going to tell you, but I'll give you some suggestions. If you're looking for value for money, buy the SARB. You can't beat value for money. It's just there in spades, right? Yeah, it doesn't have anti-reflective coating. Yeah, it's not Dia Shield. It doesn't have the best bracelet. Yeah, it has kind of weird lume, but timeless, beautiful, kind of a magic to it. Really, really like the SARB. Can't beat it for the money. Another watch to look at, though, is the Seiko Sary, S-A-R-Y, and there's a white and a black dial version. I'll drop a couple pictures in. It's less than $300. You don't get the same movement, but you do get really nice finish work. You get an automatic, 4R36 in-house movement, and similar design language, display case back. Not quite as nice, but it is a good alternative to those that are looking for value. Maybe aren't in love with the smaller size of the SARB, want something more like the Brights or the Presage, but you just don't want to spend the $700, $800 for these. That Sary is a nice watch to consider. So anyways, value proposition, definitely the SARB. Now, if you are looking for the most pop, the most, I guess you could say exciting watch, that would definitely be the Brights. You can't beat that dial. That dial is incredible. That blued second hand, those really long, thin, modern indices, the onyx and the crystal, those beautiful arced lugs. Wow. Wow. I'm going to talk myself into buying another one. I just know it. It's so cool. And I know a lot of you guys have discovered this SDGM. You're loving it. Rightly so. You should be proud if you have one of these watches. It's really great, as with the SARB. And then if you're looking for SARB-like too many watches again. If you're looking for SDGM-like quality, kind of SARB timelessness, but with the upgrades, the SARX is definitely the one for you. I think it is the most understated, it's the most elegant, and it's my personal pick. If I was going to buy one of these, and I had all the color options available to me, the white or the black of the SARB, the cream and the black of the SDGM, and the white and the black of the SARX, I would choose the black dial SARX, the SARX 35. Beautiful, beautiful watch. You got that gloss, that sheen to the dial. You got the high contrast with the black and the white. Timeless, elegant, well executed, well finished, easy to wear, comfortable, all that stuff. That's my pick, okay? But again, this is all subjective. Which one would you guys choose? Which one would you choose? Would you go with this beautiful grand cocktail? Would you go with the value proposition? Would you go for the latest and greatest from Seiko? Which one would you do? Let me know in the comments, okay? One last thing before we close. Which of these is most like a Grand Seiko? Let's have you decide that. I'm lucky to have a Grand Seiko here on loan to me. Oh, I get giddy every time I see this thing. I love this watch. Here's a real Grand Seiko. Let's see how they stand up. I'll be very careful here. I don't want to scratch any of these watches. Okay. There we go. Now we're all in the frame. All right. Are the three here on the right, are they quality? Absolutely. Are they bang for buck? Absolutely. Do they pop? Yes. Are there drawbacks? Well, of course there are, right? Do they quite match the Grand Seiko in terms of finishing, presence, technology? No, they don't, right? But they don't pretend to be. These are $300 to $700 watches. Right here, this is like a $6,000 watch. So yeah, I mean, there is differences, but look at how much you get compared to a real Seiko, Grand Seiko. It is pretty incredible. So anyways, this was just a fun look at the three watches. I hope you enjoyed it. There was a lot to talk about. I know I rambled. If I missed something or if you have questions, please let me know. Please ask. I'm more than happy to help. It's been a fun, casual look at the watches. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I got more stuff coming. I've got other reviews, affordable Seikos, review and comparison of the Grand Seiko. So stay tuned for that. You guys are great. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.